Hey folks, so today I will be discussing a few things about mutual fund. So basically we all invest in mutual fund. We know that mutual funds say yeah, but we don't we generally don't know about our mutual fund and in which mutual fund we have invested and what are the term associated with that. So regarding that, I thought let's share some knowledge what I have learned. So I'm not an expert, but I am learning. So as well as I will try my best to give you like few learning from to know better about these terms, right? So we all invest in mutual fund based on our the tips from our family members and from friends and colleagues, right? So we should not do that. We should know about our mutual fund, our investment in which in which fund we have invested and all, and how much return we can expect, right? So for that, let's dig deep into few of the terms that we should know before investment. So let's say like there are based on like there are a different type of mutual fund house. Like there are many mutual fund house, and there under those mutual fund house there are different type of mutual funds, right? So uh, like there are open-ended funds in which we can invest in anytime. So whenever we want, we can invest in those funds. So those are called open-ended fund. Few funds are there in which we cannot invest anytime. So whenever they release some new mutual fund, we have to invest in that time period only, and that is called close-ended fund. And there are a few interval funds in that for few interval it will open. After few interval it will open, and in that interval only we should invest in those funds, right? Also, like there are actively managed fund, few are actively managed fund, few are passively managed fund. So in actively managed fund, the fund manager, according to his like expertise and according to his knowledge, he will select the best companies and they will invest in those companies. So their expense ratio will be more, and their like return in the best case, right? So return can be more. So those are called actively managed fund. So passively managed fund, in that mutual fund, basically they pick up the companies which are like based on certain index. Like let's say Nifty 50, in that there are 50 companies, right? So they will invest in those 50 companies only. They will not research for any better company. So those are called passively managed fund. So in that like actively, in case of actively managed fund, the expense ratio will be more. What is expense ratio? Expense ratio is basically the annual, there is some annual there's some portion of our corpus they will deduct as an expense, right? So annual expense or fund operating expense, so that is called expense ratio. So it depends on the fund, it depends on the it depends on various factor, right? We'll show you how to check and where to check the value expense ratio, and accordingly we can take decision based on that. So there are like different type of fund: equity fund, debt fund, hybrid fund. So if a fund is investing in the companies and companies stock directly, so those are called equity funds. If the like mutual fund is investing in any corporate bonds or any government bonds, then it's called a debt fund. Okay. And if the fund is investing in both, like few portion in equity, few portion in debt, it's called hybrid fund. So there are based on the objective of that investment. So there are multiple funds like growth fund, the dividend fund, dividend reinvestment fund. So in the growth fund, so like whatever money will be generated from that fund, it will be invested in that, like will not get in dividend as such, right? In the dividend fund, so in that case, if any company will give a dividend payout, then in that case it will be like will get it in our bank account. But in the growth fund, it will not the case, right? So like there are different factors to consider, like what is your tax slab and all. So yeah, that we need to consider. So in case of in case of like you are in a 30% tax slab, so we should not consider dividend. Dividend fund is basically for those who are in their retirement phase, right? So they want some regular interval, they want some money, regular interval, they want some money. So in that case, they can prefer dividend mutual funds. But yeah, but those who are in their 20s or 30s, they should consider growth fund, so that it will grow as time passes by, right? So it will make the compounding effect more. And dividend reinvestment, that's also like when we get a dividend, it will be reinvested into the asset, into the AUM, right? So yeah, so you I'm not going into deep in those topics, because like if I go in deep in these topics, then the video length will be more, like it will be lengthy, so I'm not getting into that. So the next is dividend, like mode of investment. So direct plan and regular plan, right? So in the direct plan, basically the expense ratio will be less. So whenever we are like choosing any discount broker, and through a discount broker we are investing into any mutual fund. So basically we are buying a mutual fund directly from mutual fund house. So in that case, it is called direct plan, right? Whenever we are going through some bank or certain we are taking help from some relationship manager, in that case it is a regular plan. And in regular plan, like in within the expense ratio, that expense ratio will be more, because the commission of those banks and relationship manager will be there. So yeah, so here like expense ratio can be like 1% more than direct plan, right? So it may seems like it's less, it's very less amount, but in long term it is like it makes a difference. So better you know about your investment, and invest in a proper way. So that's why if you know about that fund, or you can choose your own fund, then it's better to go with direct plan. And like there are multiple type of funds, like index fund, ETF, international fund, and solution based fund, thematic fund. So few mutual fund will invest in some theme like banks, pharma. So yeah, based on that, international funds is basically like they will invest in foreign companies like Google, Facebook, right? PayPal. So yeah, so they will invest in those companies. So and that's the like types, all these types are funds are there, in which we should know before investing, right? And let's give me let me give you a demo. So there is a website called Value Research Online. So here you can check about your fund, and you can compare all the funds that is there available, and among those funds you can choose the best one for you, right? So as you can see, like there are different types of equity funds, there are different types of debt funds, right? There are different type of hybrid funds. So let me give you an example with this ELSS fund. ELSS fund is basically like it's a tax saving fund. Like if you invest in those fund, you can declare it in ATC, and its lock-in period is 3 years. You if once you are investing in this fund, you cannot withdraw money from that, right? So let me choose like open-ended fund, because we can invest in these funds anytime, right? Then direct plan, and based on rating we can choose. And let me update the fund list. Okay, now you there are multiple factors to check, but let me start with few basic things that we should consider before investment, right? So it's the asset under management. So as you can see, like you can choose like 5 or 6 fund based on asset under management. So the more asset, like more like this fund have more asset, right? So that means like most of the people are uh, like believe in this fund. And the more as AUM, the less expense ratio. It like it's not always true, but it happens, right? So expense ratio is less in case of like asset under management is more. So yeah, based on that, we can select 5 or 6 mutual fund, and then we need to check different risk factor. So there are different parameters also, like standard deviation, beta, alpha, Sharpe ratio. So let me uh, tell you that the less standard deviation, better it is, because like the fluctuation of that fund will be less. Let's say the mean of that fund is 100 and its standard deviation is 20. So that means the fund value will vary between 80 and 100, like that, 80 and 120, right? So like that. So the less standard deviation, better it is. It will fluctuate less. And in case of beta, it is basically the sensitivity index. So the less beta, better it is, but like better it is in terms of risk factor. So less beta, that means less risk, right? Lower risk. And alpha, the more alpha, the better it is. Alpha can be negative also, alpha can be positive also. We should select the positive alpha, right? And the more, better it is. Because like alpha, it basically denote, let's say this is 13.68, that means there is a benchmark, right? I will show you what is benchmark, right? So let's say the benchmark will go up by 100 rupees, then this fund will go up by 113 rupees, so like that. So the lower standard deviation, better it is. The lower beta, better it is. The more alpha, better it is, right? So let me take one mutual fund. Let's say this one, right? If I take it, and I can check all the details about this mutual fund in this website called Morningstar. There are multiple websites you can check, right? So let me take this here, and I'll check a few things about that mutual fund, right? So as you can see that from the graph, the performance of this mutual fund, this is the index of that mutual fund, like the benchmark of that mutual fund. So benchmark is basically, as you can see over here, the benchmark is S&P BSE 200. So this is the benchmark of this fund, and this is the average of all the funds that are in the same category, right? So we can uh, like compare by this way. And also you can see the fund manager who is managing since last 5 years this fund, and this fund we need to check like how it is performing, right? So let's say someone like Nilesh Surana, he is currently managing this fund, and if he like a new fund manager will come in some time, so in that case we need to check like what was his like previous record, what is his expertise, and based on that we should like take our decision whether we should be invested in that fund or not, right? So that is the like we can take decision based on that. And also there are different things that you can check. There is a fact sheet where you can get all the details about that fund, right? In which companies these funds are mostly investing, what are the sectors that these funds are investing, right? And expense ratio, you can see like exit load. So basically exit load that means like if you like mainly in long term fund, like equity fund, there is an exit load for 1 year. So within 1 year if you exit from that fund, so you have to bear 1% or something like that. So you need to check that how much is the exit load. If it is a 1%, that means if you like exit before 1 year, you have to like you will get your 99% of your total corpus. So they will deduct 1%. So that's the exit load. And as well, like these are the things you can check as well. There are other things like okay, let me see what are the things that need to check before you take a decision. Portfolio. There are multiple factors that we can check, right? So yeah, there is these things like upside and downside. It denotes that if index is up by 100, it will up by 109 uh, based on 31st May data, right? And in that category, like ELSS category, like other funds are up by 94%, 94, right? And downside, in case of downside also, like if indexes go up by 100, it like go down by 100, then it will go down by 89 rupees only. And other, like total, all the other category fund will, the same category, other funds will go down by 102. So these funds are basically like, it is doing well. So so it's not a recommendation, but it's just tutorial kind of thing. What I know, based on that, I just shared all the things that you should consider before, like before investing. And you should know like which are the funds you have invested and how much, how they are performing, which are the companies these funds are investing. So yeah, that's it from this video. Hope you like it. And if you know any, if you want to know anything in detail, let me know. If I know about those things, I'll try to share in later videos. Thank you. Bye.